Hello everyone, Carlos Flores, back on basics. So before we begin this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Back on Basics 9985. Hit the notification button so that you can get notified of any new videos that come on board. Man, I get that faster and faster every time. If you have any comments, any questions, any suggestions, don't hesitate to put it in the comment section. Make sure that if it's something personal, you can always connect with me on other social media outlets. So on Facebook, you can search for me at Carlos Flores Jr. On Instagram, type at Back on Basics, and on X, type at Back on Basics. So so today's topic is going to be it's more like a storyline. I want to make sure that I touch on a few topics along the way, or touch points along the way. But overall, what I'm going to talk about is not only mental health, but also mental health from a male perspective. And I'm going to tell you this. So we're all very unique, and that's what I've said, right? About mental health, about dealing with mental health things, about keeping ourselves mind-body balance, right? It's keeping ourselves balance, right? Building our basic foundation. And so it's interesting because when we are on our own, we tend to do pretty well. Not always, though. I'm going to tell you that. Not always, because sometimes we need our support system, and we need to ask our support system for advice, to see if the things that we're doing it's what's going to benefit us more. And so sometimes we need that help. And so as a male, and I'm speaking as a male, sometimes it's difficult because just as females have a lot of things that they need to do, so do males, and it's different, right, between males and females. To a certain extent, there's a lot of similarity. Helping family, supporting family, all of that. And so we have to stay focused. And as males, we have to stay focused. We have to stay motivated. We have to keep on going. And if at some point you get to the point where you feel like you failed, it's okay. I'm telling you, it's okay, because we all fail, no matter who you are. I mean, you can have the richest person, fail. Everybody fails. So you have to understand that it's okay to fail. And I've said this in a video, I think, during this past week, but I want to make sure that I emphasize that if that happens, then you need to accept the failure. You need to accept the failure and set it aside. Once you accept it, you can set it aside and you can move forward. It may take a little bit of time. It may take your support system to help you out. And so, as a father, as a male, I pride myself in being a provider. I pride myself on helping my kids and others around them, everybody in our family. I pride myself in being a support system for a lot of different people. I pride myself in the fact that all of the education that I've received, I'm able to give it to you, so that way you can actually take what you need, the topics that you need from all of these almost 260 videos, and help yourself balance your mind and body. Because we have to. And in these days, that we're kind of like at the edge of, honestly, some of us are at the edge of losing it. And it's because of anxiety. It's because we're down. It's because we've just lost a job, or because we're beginning, like me. I'm beginning from scratch, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, I told you, I used to make 3 times as much income, and now I don't. But I've had to think about it. I had to process it. I actually talked to my support system. I've actually looked at it, and to the point that I said, there's pros and cons to this. Those are the things that we have to do in order for us to have this mental focus, right? And this mind-body balance. But I get it. Sometimes we lose it. Sometimes there's people that poke and push our buttons, and we can't help it but to lash out. And so either verbally or maybe we just keep ourselves in, or we don't say anything. And unfortunately, sometimes we go beyond what we should do. And so again, right? It's okay to fail. It's okay. You have to let it go. You have to set it aside, and you have to keep moving forward. That's the important aspect of the life balance, because it's hard to get going. Momentum is difficult. Once you stop, momentum takes a while to get going. Remember, right? Compounding effect, where you're getting small victories. Even when you think that you have failed, even if you haven't failed, but you think that you have failed, right? The compounding victories will move you forward, will give you momentum. So that way, when you process the event, where you process the situation that you're in, where you process the situation that you have been, you can move forward. But the thing is, the most important thing is, you have to accept that it took place, because it did. You have to accept it, because if you don't accept it, it's going to be hard to let it go, right? It's going to be hard to let it go. So you have to accept it. It happens. It's okay. Nobody's perfect. I'm telling you this right now. Nobody's perfect. Nobody. We all make mistakes. We all feel down. We all feel anxious. We all feel, depressed. We all feel anger. We all feel like the world is crumbling all around us. But you know what? There's people that can help you. There's people to listen to you. Remember, your support system, right? You're just a text or a call away, so that way you can talk to somebody. Remember that. You can't do it by yourself, because if you do it by yourself, you'll get into your mind. Remember, we talked about this in previous videos, where you can get things started. And that's one of the things that I've been saying, right? You compound these victories so that way you can start moving forward. But at some point, you're going to have to bring in the people that support you and the people that can tell you realistically what you need to do. Right? And so, and again, that's just a suggestion. And I've said this before, right? Because the only person that can decide for you is you. You're the one who makes the decisions. You're the ones who does that. And so it's interesting, because life, it's like a roller coaster. And I've said this so many different times. We're up and we're down, and we're up and we're down, and we're up and we're down. And the thing is, when you throw in the fact that, we give ourselves titles. Like, for example, when I'm speaking as a dad, I'm speaking as a male provider, making sure that everybody's balanced, even to the point, and I'm telling you this, even to the point that I become unbalanced. It's like it negative affects me, but I keep everything else, try to keep everything else balanced as much as I can. Dealing with different things, dealing with adversity, dealing with the unexpected. You have to make sure that you're okay with it. Okay with it. Just like you're okay with victories, you have to be okay with having setbacks. You have to be okay with not being able to move forward. You have to be okay with failing. And I said this before. You have to be okay with failing. You have to. If not, then you're not going to move forward. It's kind of like you got to know where you come from. Remember the other short that I did in the other video that I did? You have to know where you come from in order for you to get to where you're at. Look, I came from war. I came with PTSD. I mean, I have PTSD. You can see when I talk about it. Right now, I'm kind of like general skimming through, so that way I don't get it. But as soon as I start talking about it, I get chills. I get goosebumps on my arms, which is great because you know what? Before I used to get anxious. I used to get very anxious, and it would stop me from doing anything. I'm still anxious, by the way. I got to tell you, because it is what it is, right? I have to accept who I am because that way I can adapt the best way that I can. And so I still am, because it goes back to failure, or it goes back to the fear of failure. You know, it's when in your mind you're helping take care of things, you're helping take care of a lot of different aspects, a lot of different people. It does. You have to have a balanced mental health. You have to have a mind-body balance, because you have to make sure that you take care of yourself so that way you can take care of others. Because if you go down, if you lose control, if you for some reason, right, become anxious or think that you're failing, right, you have to make sure to understand that you have to take care of yourself. It's hard for me to do that. And I'm telling you this, I'm being very honest with all of you. It's hard for me to do that because I think of everybody else first before I think of me. But I have to think about myself, because if I don't, then things are not going to happen. And then it's going to be like snowball effect in a negative direction. So make sure that you're balancing. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Make sure that you have micro breaks, right? Make sure that you accept failure. And I know I'm speaking to fathers, but or males, but females, mothers, aunts, everybody. It is sometimes hard to talk about what we're going through as males. Unfortunately, I wish I could talk to everybody clearly, but sometimes it's hard because there's things that go around. One family member does not want to talk to this family member, does not want to talk to that family member, does not want to hear about this family member, and it's, as a guy, it's hard. It's hard to balance and saying, okay, I can't talk to this person about this person, or this person about this person, or these people about these people. As a guy, it's hard. It's like a lot of the times we're like horses with blinders. We just do this, right? I barely have moved my blinders out, so that way I can see all around, and that way I'm able to be a little bit better at dealing with things. I try new things. For the longest time, to be honest with you, I was so into my introvert way of my personality that I was eating so much that I was becoming sick. I mean, I told you in other videos, I was pre-diabetic, sleep apnea, at the beginnings of sleep apnea. I was snoring. I had acid reflux at night to the point that I had to prop my pillow so I wouldn't be laying down, because if I lay down, that would happen. It's been a year and a half. Been over a year, almost over a year. I'm a lot healthier. I'm still not where I'm at, and I'm still working. I went walking for, I think, 4.5 miles today, and then I did some more physical activities. So things are happening. They snowball. You got to understand that. Everybody, you got to understand that things snowball, because a lot of the times, whenever we're doing things and we're doing things on our own, they snowball the other way around. And that's how we shut down, and that's how we stop, and that's how we're not communicating the way that we're supposed to be communicating. And then the thing is, eventually what happens is we explode. We explode. Again, we explode. We let it all out. You have to let it out consistently, because if you don't let it out consistently, it's going to come out in a big wave. And whoever's in front of you is going to take the brunt of it. So that's what I've learned as a therapist for years. It's hard though. It is hard, because one of the things that I'm working on is not to attach new issues to the past. It's hard doing that. It is hard doing that, gentlemen. It is hard doing that. And I bet you, ladies, it is hard doing that for you as well. And so that's the reason why I'm making this video. I mean, it's not titled, I'll figure out what kind of title I'm going to do, but I wanted to make sure, gentlemen, remember, micro breaks. Know yourself, know others, know your higher power, know your goals, know how to celebrate your goals, and really celebrate your goals, because you have reached a lot. When you get a new job, celebrate, right? When you reach a milestone, celebrate. When you get healthier, celebrate. Doesn't mean that you're going to spend a lot of money. It doesn't mean that you're going to spend money. It could be just playing video games. I mean, I celebrate by playing video games. I mean, hey, listening to music. It's amazing, ladies and gentlemen, that being balanced, having mind-body balance is the key to everybody to drive forward. It's hard. I mean, it's hard, because all of us are different. All of us have different mentalities. We do have aligning of similarity, but once we start looking deep, then you see that nature versus nurture, we're different. We are different. I've said this before. Even twins are different. Even from birth, they're different. And so we have to make sure that we need to get to know ourselves. We need to do that. I mean, one of the reasons why I'm doing this talk is what took place in Pennsylvania yesterday. That's one of the reasons why. I mean, I don't wish anything on anybody, right? I don't wish anything bad on anybody. But there were so many things that could have prevented all of that. And and how our leadership, all of our leadership is talking about unity, right, of the country here in the United States. That's key, right? That's key. I get it. We don't agree on all the things, but we agree in being human beings. We agree in being Americans. We agree in having the freedom to make choices. Having the freedom to make choices. And in addition to that, as I move it back to the individual person, we have opportunities here in the United States that in other countries we never would have had. We never would have had these opportunities. I mean, jobs, education, upbringing, opportunities to buy things, to sell things, to educate others, and everything. That's the reason why I love doing these videos, because you're going to get my take on different topics. Remember, we've been called the United States, we've been called a melting pot, we've been called a salad, we've been called many different names, right? And in these times, we're a little bit more divided, but we're all human beings, right? We all have our positives and our negatives. We all do. There's nobody that can say that they only have positives. We all have our positives and our negatives. Be honest. Let's be honest with each other. It's okay not to agree, but it's not okay to not be respectful, right? And so, again, going back to what I'm talking about, as an individual, you have to, and again, my message started out for males or dads specifically, you have to accept failure. You have to accept failure. There's no way around it. It's hard for me to accept failure because you know what? It just hits me right down deep in here, and it just unbalances me for a while, to the point that I have to take micro breaks, and I have to just do breathing exercises. I have to take walks. Why do you think I walk 6 miles on the weekends? It just centers me. So that way I'm focused. So when I get back to work on Monday, I'm focused. I don't want to be all stressed and everything. I want to make sure that I'm doing what I'm doing. So, accept failure. It's okay. The thing is, once you accept it, you set it aside or you detach from it and then you move forward. So, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Back on Basics 9985. Hit the notification button so you can get notified of any new videos that come on board. If you have any topics, questions, or any suggestions for me, put them in the comment section and I'll be happy to do so. If you want to connect with me, we're on other social media outlets. On Facebook, search for me, Carlos Flores Jr. On Instagram, search for me, or you can type in @BackOnBasics. On X, you can do the same. Type @BackOnBasics. So till next time, don't put yourself down. Everybody fails. Everybody fails. Accept it, set it aside, move forward. Back on Basics.